Okay. Okay, aloha kako. We are talking about annexation today. This PowerPoint picks up right where we left off last time at the end of the overthrow. And I think you'll see by the end why annexation is in quotes. Okay, so immediately after the overthrow, the Provisional Government sends representatives to Washington, D.C. And they actually prevent the Li'uokalani's representatives from getting on the same ship. They have to wait 3 weeks, so the Provisional Government representatives have a head start in trying to get to Washington to achieve annexation of Hawaii to the U.S. Now, the president, right at the moment of the overthrow, is President Benjamin Harrison. And Harrison, the problem is he's what they call a lame duck. He's already been voted out of office. He is, Grover Cleveland had been elected in November, but wasn't going to be inaugurated until March. So Harrison is what they call a lame duck. He's still president, but already on his way out. And during that lame duck period, he rushes the Treaty of Annexation to Congress by February of 1893. He's rushing because he's about to leave office. Now, we know that Hawaii wasn't annexed in 1893. So, what happened to this treaty? Have we got that? What thwarts the treaty's passage? The election of Grover Cleveland. In the debate over the role of the U.S. that's going on in the U.S., in other words, should the U.S. expand or remain within its borders? Should it be expansionist or isolationist? Cleveland is on the side of remaining within its borders. So Cleveland's inaugurated in March. He gets messages from Hawaiian Kingdom representatives, and based on that, he withdraws the treaty. He withdraws the treaty from consideration pending an investigation. Okay, so he doesn't necessarily take the side of Hawaiians or the Provisional Government, but he says, let's find out all the facts and make a decision. Now, if you remember U.S. history, you might remember that Cleveland has the distinction of being the only president to serve 2 terms, not consecutively. So he was president before Benjamin Harrison, and then again after Benjamin Harrison. So this is his 2nd term, but it's not a consecutive term. Withdraws treaty. Grover Cleveland's grandson was here last semester and pretty much verified that what we've been saying all along is the case. On the other hand, Lauren Thurston's grandson is still alive, and he says that his grandfather was right. So it'd be interesting to get the 2 in a room, grandson of Lauren Thurston and the grandson of Grover Cleveland. It's amazing that their grandchildren are still alive. George Cleveland isn't even that old, but Cleveland married a woman who he knew as a baby. So his wife, and this is the grandmother of George Cleveland, was much, much younger. It was his friend's daughter.
Okay, so what did the grandchildren do over here on the island?
No, here. Tantalus.
Oh, that's
So Cleveland sets up an investigation of the overthrow. And the person he sends as the investigator is James Blunt. You know, like the song, You're Beautiful? Same pronunciation, slightly different spelling. It's pronounced the same, James Blunt. And he was a senator from Georgia. So when the sugar growers hear his southern accent, they say You're beautiful. Because they think that he's going to be on their side. What do they assume about him being a Southerner in the 1890s?
And he's in favor of the
He was
annexation?
probably a slave owner himself. Definitely his parents. He definitely got into his position through the plantation system of being a plantation owner and so on. So he's likely to be on their side, or so they think. But because they think that they pour out all their racist ideas about Hawaiians, Hawaiians are inept, the Queen is inept, they're not fit to rule themselves, and so on. He just nods, writes it all down, and writes a 700-page document recommending that the Provisional Government step down and reinstate the Queen. So he may well have been a racist, we don't know, but he definitely could tell the difference between a foreign country and its citizens compared to an ethnic group that he may or may not like within the United States. Okay, so he's saying restore the Queen. And then this report, which we always call the Blunt Report. But the official title of it was Affairs in Hawaii. So if you look for that in the Hawaiian collection, it's in the reserve section under this title here. Very, very extensive. Because it has all the interviews that he did. You can look at primary source documents. What did the sugar growers say? What did Hawaiians say? So what was the outcome? It's a recommendation to the president, and based on that recommendation, Cleveland addresses Congress, and this is where he makes the statement: in an act of war, a friendly and confiding nation has been overthrown, and this is a wrong that we should endeavor to repair. But he needs Congress's support. He can make that the official policy of the United States. He can say the official policy is this was totally illegitimate. And the reason it was illegitimate was the Provisional Government owed its existence to an armed invasion of the United States. That's Cleveland's words based on the Blunt Report. And because of that, it's not a revolution. It's an intervention, as we said last time. And the Provisional Government isn't a real government. It's a puppet government of the United States. So he's saying reinstate, but Congress is majority in favor of annexation. And the leader of it is Republicans, specifically a senator named John Tyler Morgan. And Morgan was an interesting guy, a Civil War general. He came here and he started interviewing people, and he made speeches warning Hawaiians and non-Hawaiians of what he called the Yellow Peril, an influx of the Asiatics. He said, you could be buried in a landslide by an influx of Asiatics, Asian immigrant workers. So his report, he made a report. His report accepted the facts of Blunt Report, and it said the U.S. had a right to interfere, as it had before, which was referring to 1826 Sandalwood dispute. Okay, so what happened was the Blunt Report and the Morgan Report kind of balanced each other out. People read one and they read the other, and there's kind of a standoff. Basically, the president wants to reinstate the Queen, but Congress, the majority of Congress wants to annex Hawaii. So they can't do either. So 5 years, there's this kind of standoff. And a few years ago, some opponents of Hawaiian sovereignty and Hawaiian rights, they pointed to the Morgan Report, and they just discovered this report and said, look, there's another report. Hawaiians always talk about the Blunt Report. This one says the overthrow was okay. So, in your face, Hawaiians. And it's true that politically they balance each other out. But legally, in the U.S. government, it's the responsibility of the executive branch to investigate foreign policy. And which one is executive branch, Morgan or Blunt? Blunt, because he's appointed by the president, executive branch. This is legislative branch. So this is just a diversion tactic, really. But it did have an effect politically. I have to start a new video. This will be